Hi guys, how are you? It's Bricks Nostalgia here, and what I would like to do with you today is to review this vintage Lego set, set number 6984, the Galactic Mediator, from the Space Police 2 theme from the early 90s. This is the biggest set that you could get from this team back in those days. I didn't have any Space Police set when I was a kid, so I just got these about 18 months ago when I started, when I got into collecting vintage sets from my childhood. And what I'm very happy about is that I just don't have this one, but I also have the other two bigger sets of the theme. So yeah, I have to say that they look very good all together. This is the mothership. It's huge. The build, the first thing that you notice once you build, when the build is finished, is that it's huge. It's huge and it looks very good. So it has quite lots of features into it, so let's get on it and let's go through all of them. Okay, firstly what I would like to do is to go through a brief overview of the set, and then we're gonna go we're gonna spend some time on going through the various features of the set. Okay, I really do like the shape of this build. What I really like a lot is that it's a very beefy build. I don't know if you can catch the meaning of what I'm trying to say, but if you had it here, if you had it in your hands like I am now, what you can see is that it's a very thick and beefy build. You can see that the sections of the build are very beefy. It's huge, beefy, have a lot of body. The build has been put together in a way that gives it a lot of body to it, and it really transmits this feeling when you see it and when you grab it in your hands. I like a lot the shape of it. There is this very front section with the two cockpits, one on top of the other. That was a very specific feature of this team. I don't remember about any other team that had this particular feature into it, and this was present also in the other in the second biggest one, biggest set of the team. It was the Solar Snooper that had also these two cockpits, one on top of the other. And what I like a lot as well is the whole back section. I like a lot the shape of the wings. They are very big. They are made out of two different layers, one on top of the other, with some pieces that connect the two sections together. I like a lot these the use of all these parts on the end and these let's say radar section here on top to give it a very how can I say very tall presence towards the end of it. And I like a lot also this very original and creative thought, that is the fact that you hold two prisons on these at the very end of the build, in between the main body and the wings. You just put the whole thing together, the two jails together in these parts of the build through a feature that we are gonna go and check out in a minute. Okay, there's only one thing that I don't like and makes me wanna customize a bit this section, and it's that if you have a look at this line over here, the whole line that goes from the beginning to the end, I see a lot of cows into it, and that's the feeling that I have comes from the fact that it's very bulky and it doesn't follow a very smooth line all the way through. For example, it starts off from here using these pieces that I really don't like, and that you can see create a lot of angles and things that don't make the whole thing to look smooth. For example, I don't like these pieces because, as you can see, they haven't been nothing around them has been built in order to make it look smooth without too many angles and corners. Then it follows up on this side, and I don't like the use of these wings here. They keep interrupting the flow, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Also, I think this whole section, this middle section, could have been done a lot better, just keeping it simple, adding panels, maybe an alternance between translucent panels and gray panels like that, but just keep it clean and without all these details that I think are gonna make the whole thing look chaotic. And then there is also throughout this whole back section, you can see there is the use of panels, various details, but not in a way that makes the whole thing looking smooth and give you a sense of natural and smooth flow going through the beginning to the end. But that's the only complaint that I have to do, and not a big deal also, because as I just said a few seconds ago, the whole thing can be resolved with some proper customization. So yeah, not much to worry about. So let's go now in details through the various features of the set. Okay, so the main feature is that this big build can be split in different sections, in 3 different sections actually. So once you lift a panel over here and another panel over here, what happens is now you have room to pull things apart, splitting the whole thing in 3 different sections. Now let's go very briefly through these 3 sections individually. So let's put these 2 here on the side, and let's focus first of all on the cabin section. Okay, so this cabin section can be separated from the rest of the body, and these transforms somehow in an independent spaceship that I don't really like much, because it's pretty much consisting only of the cockpit, the huge cockpit, but then there's nothing really here on the rest of the body, and so on its own it doesn't look very good. A very interesting thing is that if you take the 3rd section of the spaceship, you can still attach the 2 sections together, just forgetting about the original middle section. And now what you turn out to have is a very interesting spaceship. It's shorter than the very original one, but that looks very good. It looks very good because the proportions are all there. Now you can see that the proportion, the look, the design, it looks great. So definitely this could be a very interesting way to resolve the problem of having just a whole cockpit section but no body after. There's not much there's not really, sorry guys, there's not really much going on here in terms of particular features. It's just the cockpits. Just one thing I wanted to point out is that I'm presenting these with 2 independent cockpit sections, cabin section for the minifix, but actually in the original build you will have nothing here. There will just be a gap, and there wouldn't be the chance to add a second minifig. I just took out of my spare pieces a little 6x4 plate and I just stuck it into it with a control panel just to give it just to give the conditions for a second minifig to sit there, because now I think everything looks appropriate. So let's take this first section on the side, and let's focus on very briefly on this middle section. This middle section is doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. It's useless, and I think a lot more could be done to make this section more interesting. As I said, as I mentioned previously, I think the outside look could be improved a lot better, getting rid of these wings and these very weird translucent piece, and just keep everything a bit more flat. Just maybe put in another green panel over here and just keep the whole thing flat, and then just put in some just now you can see it's very flat, plain, there's nothing going on. Just add in a few control panels, maybe a couple of chairs, and maybe, I don't know, just trying to put something on the walls as well, some screens and stuff, in order just to make it look interesting and just to make it transform this very empty section in maybe a lab section. That would be a customization that could improve a lot this section of the build without having to work too much on it. So let's put this on the side. Let's focus now on the very last section that is very interesting because it has the most of the features left into it. Okay, so as you can see, this rooftop can lift up, and actually what is going to reveal is the presence of a rover here in it. This makes you understand that this very last section can be considered a cargo section that you can use to carry the rover. It has some tools into it for the minifigs also on the walls. That's a very interesting, nice touch that I like a lot. And sticking to the rover thing, now if we turned around the set, what happens is that now if we lift this part up, we create the conditions for a whole ramp to lower down, and then to have the conditions in order to get this rover out and ready for exploration on the ground. The rover itself is very basic, doesn't really have much going on into it. The interesting thing to notice is, and that I kind of like a lot, is the how these wheels have been attached to the base. They are not all at the same level, which you know, it's supposed to make this build more comfortable when it comes about exploring and running on uneven surface, maybe, you know, a moon base where the ground is very uneven, and I think it's a very nice touch, makes it very interesting. Let's put the rover on the side, and now let's move on. Now let's close up this ramp again, and now let's move on to the very last feature of the set, which is that if you follow the suggestion given by these tiles with the arrows printed into it, and you just lift this green hinge here, this red piece attached to an hinge, what happens is that through these hinged pieces the wing can move forward, and once moved forward can create enough room in order for the for the jail to be released. So I'm just gonna do it again, but showing you the whole thing from another angle. So I'm just gonna lift this hinge, and now I'm just gonna push outwards the wing, and what will happen in this case, at this point is that you have enough room to release the jail that is the once you open up the translucent windscreen reveals the presence of a prisoner, which is in this case a Blacktron minifig. The interesting thing, obviously this works for both the wings, even if I'm just going to show you one. Another very interesting thing that I wanted to mention is that the use of these particular pieces in the whole feature allows you to grab and put the jail in position, just pushing the wing back in place. So if I just now push the wing, you can see that automatically the jail is collected once again, and then you just have to act once again on the hinge here on the front, on this part, in order to lock the whole system in place. I think it's a very clever touch, considering once again that it's all built using very basic and common pieces. Okay, so this is it, guys, for this set. Unfortunately, I do have the instructions, but I don't have the box, and into the instructions there's no alternate builds shown into it. Just a couple of pictures that show the feature related to the rover, so I can't show you any alternate builds. So I think that's it for this build. It's a great set. As I said, it makes me want to customize a very few things, especially in this middle section, but I think it's a very iconic set, vintage set from the 90s. I'm very happy about it, even if it's a quite expensive one, and very happy to have it on my shelf with the rest of the sets of this team. I didn't have this set as a kid, so if any of you guys had it as a kid, just tell me what memories you have about it, because yeah, there's lots of features into it. I'm sure that it would have blown my mind if I had this as a kid and if I had the chance to play with it. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, guys, and don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe so you can stay updated for more reviews. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you later.